In the cold darkness of space, the small human outpost on the planet Tarsus stood like a lonely island surrounded by the vast ocean of stars. Captain Ilara stared out from the control room, her heart heavy with worry. Outside the walls, the alien ships loomed like shadows, their guns aimed at the humans who dared to resist. The alien empire had come with overwhelming force, and Ilara knew that time was running out. The sounds of battle echoed through the corridors of the outpost. Alarms blared as the soldiers prepared for another wave of attacks. Ilara could feel the tension in the air. Her team was brave, but they were tired and outnumbered. They had fought hard, holding the line against the aliens for weeks, but supplies were running low and hope was fading fast. "Captain, we've lost contact with the supply ship," shouted Lieutenant Sam, rushing into the control room. His face was pale and beads of sweat dripped from his forehead. "They were ambushed by alien fighters. We won't get any more food or ammunition." Ilara clenched her fists. They needed those supplies to survive. "How many more attacks can we withstand?" she asked, her voice steady but laced with concern. "We're not sure," Sam replied, glancing at the screens showing the alien fleet closing in. "They're planning a full assault. If they break through our defenses, it could be the end for us." Ilara took a deep breath. She had heard stories of a lost fleet of human dreadnoughts, powerful ships that had once defended humanity. Legends spoke of their strength and advanced weapons, but those ships had been gone for centuries, lost in the depths of space. She couldn't rely on fairy tales, but she also knew they needed a miracle. "Prepare a message for Earth," Ilara ordered, determination shining in her eyes. "We need reinforcements. We can't fight this battle alone." As the technicians scrambled to send the urgent message, Ilara turned her gaze back to the view screen. The alien ships moved closer, their dark shapes filling the sky. She could see the markings on their hulls, signs of their brutal empire. They were ruthless, and they would not stop until they had conquered Tarsus. The control room was buzzing with activity, but Ilara felt a deep sense of dread. The soldiers under her command were brave, but even the strongest warriors needed support. She thought of her family back on Earth, of the life she had left behind to protect the colonies. She had to believe that help would come, but doubts crept into her mind. Hours passed, and the atmosphere grew heavier with each moment. Suddenly, alarms blared louder than ever. "They're coming!" someone shouted. Ilara felt her heart race. She turned to her team, determination fueling her voice. "Hold your positions! We can do this! Remember why we fight!" she shouted, trying to inspire them. "We fight for our homes, for our families, for each other." The soldiers nodded, their faces a mix of fear and resolve. They took their positions, ready to defend their home. The outpost shook as the first alien ships opened fire. Explosions lit up the night sky and debris flew everywhere. Ilara shouted commands, guiding her team through the chaos. They fired back, their weapons bright against the darkness. But as the battle continued, Ilara realized the truth. Their defenses were crumbling. The alien ships were too many, too powerful. She watched as one of her soldiers fell, and anger surged within her. They had to fight, but without help, their fate seemed sealed. "Keep fighting!" she yelled, her voice almost lost in the chaos. "We won't give up!" But deep inside, Ilara felt the weight of defeat creeping in. The aliens were relentless, and the humans were beginning to falter. Just when she thought all hope was lost, she remembered the Dreadnoughts. Could they really be out there waiting for the call to save humanity? With that thought, she found a new spark of hope. They had to survive long enough for help to arrive. The battle raged on, but Ilara knew she would fight to the end. She refused to let her team down, and she refused to give up on humanity's future. Back on Earth, the message from Captain Ilara reached the High Command, a room filled with bright screens and busy officers. The walls were lined with maps of the galaxy, showing the locations of human colonies and enemy forces. General Harris, a tall man with gray hair and a stern face, listened intently to the desperate plea for help. "Are we really going to leave them to fight alone?" he asked, looking around the room. The officers nodded, concern etched on their faces. They all understood the gravity of the situation. The alien empire had been pushing deeper into human territory, and if Tarsus fell, the other colonies would soon follow. "We have to send reinforcements," said Colonel Liu, a sharp strategist with a reputation for quick thinking. "But we can't afford to lose more ships. The Dreadnought fleet is our last hope." General Harris rubbed his chin thoughtfully. The Dreadnoughts were lost long ago. Are we sure they can still function? We haven't used them in centuries. They were designed to endure, Colonel Liu replied. We have technicians who can wake them up. But we must act fast. Ilara's team needs us now more than ever. The room buzzed with urgency as the officers began to make plans. They knew they had to prepare the Dreadnought fleet for battle, but time was not on their side. Meanwhile, Ilara sat in the control room, anxiety gnawing at her. They had sent the message, but what if no one came? What if help never arrived? Captain, we're detecting a large alien fleet approaching from the east, reported Sam, his voice shaking slightly. They're closing in fast! Ilara felt a wave of panic wash over her. How long do we have? Minutes at most, Sam replied, his eyes wide with fear. We need to reinforce our defenses! Ilara nodded, rallying her team. Everyone take your positions. Prepare for the worst! We fight to the end! As the soldiers scrambled, Ilara couldn't shake the feeling of dread. They were outnumbered and outgunned. The aliens had powerful weapons and her team was exhausted. She could see the fear in their eyes, but she had to stay strong. They were fighting for their homes, for their families, and she would not let them down. Back at the command center on Earth, technicians worked tirelessly to wake the Dreadnought fleet. These ships were legendary, and many believed they held the key to humanity's survival. As the technicians activated the ancient systems, lights flickered to life and the hum of engines filled the air. The Dreadnoughts began to awaken from their long slumber, their massive forms looming in the shipyards. We have a visual, shouted one technician. The Dreadnoughts are online. General Harris watched the screens with a mix of hope and fear. We need to get them ready for launch. Every second counts! As the Dreadnoughts powered up, Ilara and her team braced themselves for the incoming attack. The alien ships appeared in the sky, dark and menacing. The aliens began their assault and explosions rocked the outpost. Ilara fought to keep her focus, giving orders and encouraging her team. Stay together! Watch each other's backs! She shouted, her voice cutting through the chaos. Just as the situation seemed dire, a technician in the command center received a signal. We're ready to launch the Dreadnoughts, he announced, excitement in his voice. General Harris felt a surge of hope. Send them to Tarsus! They need us now, he commanded. The technicians quickly plotted a course for the Dreadnoughts, and soon the massive ships were roaring to life, leaving Earth's atmosphere. Their destination was clear, Tarsus, where Ilara and her team were fighting against impossible odds. As the Dreadnoughts soared through space, they carried the hopes of humanity with them. On Tarsus, Ilara continued to fight, her determination unwavering. She knew help was on the way, but would it arrive in time? The battle raged on, and with each passing moment, Ilara clung to the hope that her call for help had been heard. She fought harder, knowing that the fate of her team depended on it. The Dreadnoughts were coming, and they might just be the salvation they needed. As the Dreadnoughts flew through space, their massive forms cut through the stars like ancient giants awakened from a long sleep. Each ship was a fortress, brimming with powerful weapons and advanced technology. They were humanity's last hope, and the crew was ready to fight. Back on Tarsus, Captain Ilara stood at the control room, her heart pounding with anticipation. The alien fleet continued its relentless assault, but a glimmer of hope flickered in her chest. We can hold on, she whispered to herself, glancing at her team. They were exhausted but determined. They knew help was on the way. Captain! Shouted Sam, pointing at the view screen. Look, there's a signal from the Dreadnoughts. They're approaching! Ilara squinted at the screen, and her breath caught in her throat. In the distance, she could see the Dreadnoughts emerging from hyperspace. Their enormous silhouettes were now visible against the stars, and they were heading straight for the battle. A cheer erupted in the control room, and a wave of relief washed over her. They made it! Sam exclaimed, his eyes shining with excitement. They're here to help us. Ilara quickly turned her attention back to the fight. The alien ships were still closing in, but now the tide was about to change. Prepare for reinforcements, she commanded. We're about to show the aliens what we can do. As the Dreadnoughts moved into position, their powerful engines roared to life, sending a shiver through the ground. The ships were a sight to behold, with massive turrets and energy weapons primed for action. Ilara felt a surge of pride. These ships were built for this moment, and they were ready to defend humanity. Dreadnoughts, this is Captain Ilara of Tarsus, she transmitted. We're holding our position, but we need your firepower to push back the enemy. Can you assist us? A crackling voice responded over the comms. Captain Ilara, this is Commander Rhea aboard the Dreadnought Valiant. We are here to back you up. Let's show these aliens what humans can do. Ilara smiled, her heart swelling with hope. Thank you, Commander. We'll coordinate our attacks. With the Dreadnoughts now in the fight, the humans' spirits lifted. The Dreadnoughts unleashed a barrage of firepower, their weapons lighting up the darkness of space. Energy beams sliced through the alien ships, exploding them into fragments. The aliens were caught off guard, their forces staggering under the sheer power of the Dreadnoughts. Ilara and her team worked closely with the Dreadnoughts, relaying information and targeting coordinates. "Target the flagship!" Ilara shouted. "That's where their commander is!" The Dreadnoughts responded with precision, their cannons aimed at the enemy flagship. A moment later, a tremendous blast shook the area as the flagship erupted in flames. Cheers erupted in the control room as the humans felt a surge of confidence. They were no longer alone in this fight. "Push forward!" Ilara yelled, her voice filled with determination. "We can take back our planet." The aliens, once confident in their victory, now showed signs of panic. The tide of battle was turning. Dreadnoughts fired on the remaining alien ships, and the humans followed suit, their spirits lifted by the arrival of their powerful allies. In the heat of battle, Ilara kept her eyes on the view screen, her mind racing with strategies. She knew they had to keep the pressure on. "We must capitalize on their weakness," she said, glancing at Sam. "What's our status on ammunition?" "Running low," Sam admitted. "But we can manage for now." "Then let's make every shot count," Ilara replied, focusing on the battle. With each passing moment, the alien fleet began to crumble. Dreadnoughts advanced relentlessly, cutting through the enemy like a knife through butter. The humans fought with renewed energy, knowing they had the strength of the Dreadnoughts behind them. As the last remnants of the alien fleet started to retreat, Ilara felt a rush of triumph. The Dreadnoughts had changed everything. They had risen just in time to save humanity, proving that hope could never be lost. "Victory is within our reach!" Ilara shouted, rallying her team. "Let's finish this!" With their combined might, the humans and the Dreadnoughts pushed the alien forces back, reclaiming Tarsus and ensuring that humanity would not go down without a fight. The Dreadnoughts had risen, and with them, hope for a brighter future. The battle for Tarsus raged on, but with the Dreadnoughts now in the fight, hope was alive. Captain Ilara stood at the control room, her eyes fixed on the view screen. The aliens, once confident, were now retreating. However, she knew that this was not the end, it was only the beginning. "Captain, the enemy is regrouping," Sam reported, his voice tense. "They're preparing for another assault. We need to anticipate their next move." Ilara nodded, her mind racing. "We can't let them catch us off guard. We have to think strategically." She looked at the map on the screen, showing the positions of both the human and alien forces. "We should split our forces. Have the Dreadnoughts create a diversion while we flank them from the side." "Yes, ma'am," Sam replied, quickly relaying the orders. The Dreadnoughts would take the lead, drawing the attention of the alien ships. As the Dreadnoughts moved into position, Commander Rhea's voice crackled over the comms. "Captain Ilara, we're ready to draw their fire." "Just say the word." Ilara felt a rush of gratitude. "Thank you, Commander." "On my mark, engage the enemy." With a deep breath, Ilara counted down in her head. 3, 2, 1, now! The Dreadnoughts unleashed a storm of firepower, energy beams lighting up the space around them. The aliens, startled by the sudden attack, turned their focus toward the Dreadnoughts. This was the moment Ilara had been waiting for. "Now! Flank them!" she commanded. The human ships moved quickly, taking advantage of the distraction. They darted around the sides, targeting the aliens from unexpected angles. Ilara could see the chaos unfolding on the view screen. The aliens were struggling to respond. "Good job. Keep the pressure on!" Ilara shouted, her heart pounding with excitement. The humans had the upper hand now, and she wanted to capitalize on it. But just as victory seemed close, a new threat emerged. A massive alien warship, larger than anything they had faced before, appeared from behind a nearby moon. Its dark hull was covered in intimidating weapons, and Ilara felt a chill run down her spine. "Captain, we have an unidentified ship entering the battle," Sam warned, his voice shaky. "It's enormous." The view screen zoomed in on the ship, showing its sharp lines and menacing features. The alien warship began firing at the Dreadnoughts, and explosions rocked the area. The tide of battle shifted once more as the Dreadnoughts struggled to defend themselves. "Commander Rhea, can you hold them off?" Ilara called over the comms. "We'll do our best, but we need support," Commander Rhea replied urgently. The Dreadnoughts were taking heavy fire, and their shields began to flicker. Ilara felt a surge of determination. They could not let the aliens regain control. "Sam, we need to target that warship. It's the key to their strategy." "Yes, Captain," Sam said, quickly relaying the orders to the other ships. The human fleet adjusted their formations, preparing to launch a combined attack on the alien warship. "On my mark, fire!" Ilara shouted, her heart racing. 3, 2, 1, fire! A wave of energy beams shot toward the warship, but it raised its shields just in time. The beams hit, causing sparks and explosions, but the ship remained intact. Ilara frowned, realizing they would need to hit harder. "Rhea, can you overload your weapons? We need a concentrated blast to break through their defenses," Ilara proposed, her mind racing. "It's risky," Commander Rhea replied. "We might lose our shields." "We don't have a choice," Ilara insisted. "If we don't take down that warship, we'll lose everything." With a heavy sigh, Rhea agreed. "All right, Captain. We'll do it!" The Dreadnoughts charged their weapons to maximum power, their energy cores glowing bright. Ilara held her breath, waiting for the moment of truth. "Firing in 3, 2, 1, now!" Rhea shouted. The Dreadnoughts unleashed a powerful beam of energy, a brilliant flash lighting up the battlefield. The energy shot straight at the alien warship, and for a moment everything seemed to slow down. Ilara watched, hope and fear swirling within her. The beam struck the warship, and for a moment there was silence. Then the alien ship shook violently, its shields failing. It exploded in a brilliant flash, sending debris flying across space. Cheers erupted in the control room as Ilara and her team celebrated their hard-won victory. The tide had turned once again. The Dreadnoughts had proven their worth, and humanity's spirits soared. "Now let's finish this fight!" Ilara shouted, feeling the fire of determination in her heart. They would not stop until Tarsus was free. With the destruction of the massive alien warship, a wave of relief swept over Captain Ilara and her crew. The battle for Tarsus had reached a crucial moment, and the remaining alien forces were in disarray. Ilara watched from the control room as the enemy ships scattered, desperately trying to escape the onslaught of the human fleet. "Captain, we've got them on the run!" Sam exclaimed, his eyes wide with excitement. "They're retreating!" Ilara felt a smile spread across her face. "Let's not let them regroup. We have to keep the pressure on!" She knew that this was their chance to drive the aliens away for good. The Dreadnoughts moved in formation, their powerful weapons primed for action. "Commander Rhea, let's finish this. Focus your fire on their retreating ships," Ilara ordered. "On it, Captain," Rhea responded, her voice steady despite the chaos. The Dreadnoughts turned their weapons towards the fleeing aliens, unleashing a barrage of energy beams. Ilara watched with pride as her team worked seamlessly with the Dreadnoughts. The humans and their new allies fought as one, determined to protect their home. As the last of the alien ships were destroyed or forced to retreat, cheers erupted across the control room. "We did it!" Sam shouted, raising his fists in triumph. "We saved Tarsus." But Ilara knew that victory came with a price. The battle had taken its toll on both the human fleet and the Dreadnoughts. She could see the damage on the view screen, with several ships needing repairs and many crew members looking weary. "Let's not celebrate just yet. We need to assess the damage and make sure everyone is safe," she said, her voice firm. As the human fleet gathered near the Dreadnoughts, Ilara contacted the remaining ships. "All units, report your status," she commanded. One by one, the ships checked in, most of them battered but still operational. Finally, Commander Rhea spoke up. "Captain Ilara, the Dreadnoughts are in good shape. We'll need some time to make repairs, but our systems are intact." Ilara nodded, feeling a wave of gratitude. "Thank you, Commander. Your ships made all the difference today. We couldn't have done this without you." After ensuring everyone was accounted for, Ilara took a moment to breathe deeply. The battle had been intense, but now they had secured Tarsus. They had shown the galaxy that humanity would not back down. As the crews began repairs and tended to the wounded, Ilara looked out the view screen at the stars. The vastness of space stretched before them, filled with possibilities. "We fought bravely today," she said softly, more to herself than anyone else. "But this is just the beginning. In the days that followed, the atmosphere on Tarsus shifted. The people began to emerge from their shelters, cautiously at first, then with growing confidence. News of their victory spread quickly, and celebrations erupted throughout the planet. Ilara participated in a ceremony honoring the brave crew members who fought valiantly during the battle. As she spoke to the gathered crowd, her heart swelled with pride. Today we stand united. We have shown our strength, our courage, and our determination. Together we will rebuild Tarsus and ensure that we are never threatened again. The crowd erupted into cheers, their voices echoing across the open square. Ilara smiled, feeling the warmth of their unity. They had faced darkness, but now they were stepping into the light. Meanwhile, the Dreadnoughts remained stationed above the planet, a symbol of hope and strength. Ilara knew that they would always be there, watching over humanity. They had forged a powerful alliance, and she felt confident that they could face any challenge that came their way. As the sun set over Tarsus, casting a warm glow across the sky, Ilara gathered her crew once more. "We've accomplished something incredible. Let's make sure we are ready for whatever comes next," she said, her voice filled with determination. With renewed purpose, the crew began making plans for the future. They discussed ways to strengthen their defenses and further their alliance with the Dreadnoughts. Ilara knew that the universe was vast and unpredictable, but with her crew by her side and the Dreadnoughts watching over them, she felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. They had emerged from the battle stronger than ever, united in their purpose. The future was bright for humanity, and together they would shine even brighter.